Yeah, I stole it.
The Western Suburbs guy, so the chances were he'll probably be stolen. From him, I mean. If it was stolen by him.
The website called Swamp has some good bargains sometimes.
I have overlooked emptying my brain.
It's time.
No sprinklers aren't helping. I can't believe I've missed the opportunity to play.
They always do that. It's what they do. It looks like it's a big move, but it's just going to be a tiny little.
Right, where are you going to put it?
Behind the goal.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going for it. I'll put it on down there and then the sprinkler's got. This is good because the sprinklers I can't wet my gear because I haven't got it out yet.
That's not good. Hey, you got 14 minutes. Plenty of time.
That's on. One on that. Okay, this is a makeshift one. I like it actually says sound effects might on it.
Oh, here comes our irrigation.
Oh yeah, just straight on our vision, please.
I like the bloody the dandy garden that we did. It was 34 degrees, I think I told you. And there was just a random bit of rain that came in. Just on us.
Really?
Just on us. Rained on the roadcaster, all this paper. Only for about 60 seconds.
Yeah.
But it almost had me thinking, something like someone's turned a sprinkler on because there was no rain in the forecast.
Yeah.
There was not even any rain clouds over it.
Crazy.
I'm anticipating getting out of your way.
I can probably run and put these in position and we can come back and do a sound check.
Alright.
Are you going to push this one down the ball?
Yeah. Good? Yeah. Oh, good. You want to put that out?
Oh, yeah. Got another one?
Yeah, this one saves time.
Yeah.
I've got two.
Oh, you've got another one with you? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, always good to go.
I'll stay here and rehearse the intro.
I want to get paid, man.
Yeah, bonus. We'll put one down this end while...
Just one over there. like that, no?
Just like that, yeah. Yep. Great. Thanks.
Hey.
Yep. It's just a bit. Yeah. Right. Make the tone down.
Will we be able to hear one another in our headsets?
Yeah, we'll hear them through our headsets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah. We will.
Looks like it's...
Anyone knows what's going on there.
1 2 1 2. This is Brent speaking.
1 2 1 2. This is Steve. This is Steve.
Oh, hello, Steve. Now, it might be perfect on your end, but could you hear in your headset? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Can you?
I can't really hear you or myself.
Let me turn.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
I can hear you.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. This is the game. That's so good, though. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, mate. Bugger that all. Oh, lovely. Yeah. Let's hope we get lots of goalmouth action and some clankety-doo. Thunder. Oh, yes. Right, okay. You know what I also love? There's barely any wind. I love that.
Hey, Tulsi, how you going? Yeah, good. Got some more goals coming for us tonight? Hopefully they can see them. Alright, good luck.
Reckon Craig remembers me? You reckon?
Oh, good. Yeah, it's good. They're picking up sound. The signals are fairly low for them, but it's a long distance away. Good luck, mate.
Thanks, guys.
We've got extra sound effects mics out there.
Yeah,
tonight.
brilliant. You want to turn that off straight away?
Stand Welsh. Did I pick up Welsh?
No, I don't know. I haven't got a Welsh translator.
Yeah, I was just saying that a moment ago. This is probably all going to air, isn't it? That's okay. No. Yeah, they'll switch over half an hour. At the 30-minute mark, yeah. We'd just like to say goodbye to everyone leaving us now. BT, Connor. Yeah. Okay. Friday nights in the Gully to kick off match day 5 in the NPL Victoria Top Division, and tonight is a night for the strugglers. Dandenong City make that long road trip out west and are anxious to open the account for season 2025 after losing total control of a half-time lead at home against Hume City last Friday night, ultimately going down 3-1. And there is trouble in the Gully for Green Gully. After their worst season for 31 years in 2024, the current campaign has not started much better. Winless through 4 games for the first time since 2006 when they were defending champions. Green Gully are about 10 alternate universes away from that right now. They just need a win tonight. Brent Sternberg here with you, joined by my old pal Steve Curtin at Green Gully Reserve on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel this evening. We'll bring Steve in just a moment. Here's how they line up then. Green Gully make 3 changes from the side that lost disappointingly to Port Melbourne last week, and there's a big one in goal. Liam Driscoll is out with a quad injury that we anticipate will keep him out for weeks. Declan Wynn and Gianluca Iannucci come in. Lawrence Caruso replaces Driscoll in goal. Amir Abdullah is also out, as is Joe McGlynn. So young Caruso in goal with a back 4 of Panunzio, Nugent, Regaig and Declan Wynn. The holding midfielders will be Amanzi and Josh Hope. Scott Lockhead will play ahead of those two, flanked by Paul Hodges and the returning Gianluca Iannucci. Casper Hallam will lead the line for the Gully tonight. Nick Tolios has made 2 changes to his Dandenong City side that lost disappointingly to Hume City last week. Danny Kim and Varley Sesnick return for Corey Sewell, who drops out of the squad entirely, and Yakub Mustafa goes back to the bench. Pierce Clark in goal then with a back 4 of Gaku Inaba, Thomas Yanakopoulos, Jack Webster the captain and Jackson Lino. The 2 holding midfielders of Danny Kim and George Lambatarides, who has scored in the last 2 games for Hajduk. Jamie Latham starts ahead of those 2 with Will Bauer and Varley Sesnick on the wings for the 5th consecutive match Kenny Athieu leads the line for Dandenong City. So Danny Kim and Varley Sesnick in, replacing Corey Sewell and Yaqub Mustafa. Our referee in the middle this evening is Jock Quartermain for the first time this season and for just his second game in the NPL top division. He was the fourth official for that Preston Heidelberg United match last week. He's in the middle this evening. On the sidelines will be John White and Nicoletta Satiriopoulos, and our fourth official down below us is Ben Howe. Green Gully in the iconic green and white then. They will be kicking us off from right to left. Dandenong City for the first time in their away strips of the red and the blue. And as far as the Gully are concerned, Steve, as I welcome you in, Gully might have some PTSD looking at those jumpers after the fortunes of last week.
Yeah, I think for a second we saw Port Melbourne walking out of the tunnel next to them, and well, that was a nightmare last Friday night for Green Gully, and they're hoping that they can kick off this Labor Day long weekend in Melbourne in the best possible way by getting their first win of the season. But of course, the kings of the high-scoring draw so far this season, Brent, in Dandenong City, have had a 3-3 and a couple of 2-2s in the opening 3 rounds. They'll be looking for their first win as well. Looking to tighten up after a couple of defensive mistakes. Nick Tolios indicated that before kick-off as well. He'll be frustrated that they conceded from a set piece and also from an error in defence with a back pass in the second half as Hume City came home with a wet sail last week. But look, promises to be a good encounter, and we look forward to your company on the NPL Victoria live stream tonight for this one. And, well, someone could walk away with 3 points for the first time this season.
City on the attack, Sesnick and Glenn Batterides, who scored that wonderful goal from the set piece last week. Here's Bauer, Sesnick, Glenn Batterides, lovely interplay on the fringes of the 18-yard box. Yanakopoulos, who we know can strike from distance. He decides against it this time and, in fact, turns it over. Yeah, those 3 second-half goals that they conceded last week, Hajduk, not just second-half goals, but goals in the last 22 minutes. And those first two come only a couple of minutes apart. Pakan Kirda with a lovely strike that probably wasn't anywhere near enough pressure on him. He just rolled straight past a couple of the Dandenong City midfielders. It was a wonderful finish in the end. And then just 2 minutes later, a pretty awful own goal scored by Kenny Athieu. And Dandenong City played well in the first half, but the boys from Broadmeadows were by far the superior team in the second 45. Only 3 teams yet to open the account in terms of wins this season, and you're looking at 2 of them here tonight. And the other one, the bottom placed Melbourne Victory. Lovely little touch there from Latham. Athieu trying to get past Regay, can't get past Carlamanzi, and all the way back to Lawrence Caruso, who is in goal tonight for Green Gully. Liam Driscoll has been the mainstay the past couple of seasons, but was substituted out of the game last week for the Gully with a serious quad injury, and so the former Western Sydney Wanderer man gets his chance between the posts tonight, Steve.
Yeah, wasn't that a nasty one for Liam Driscoll last week? Went to take the long goal kick at J.L. Murphy Reserve, and you could hear through the distant effects mics the groans of pain as the quad let go, and he was subbed out, and MRI confirmed during the week he's going to miss at least a couple of weeks of football. And well, Gully were hoping he might be able to get out there, but at the moment it's a chance for Caruso to show his stuff, and they'll be hoping for a clean sheet tonight, as was, as I mentioned, Nick Tolios as well. So it's a matter of who can settle first here. That's a really good opportunity for one of these sides to try and go on a bit of a run with some games against, maybe some beatable teams coming up for these guys as well. Dandy City, Altona Magic next week, and Green Gully face the Knight. So this could start a bit of a good run of form.
They certainly need a Green Gully winner throw-in here. Dandenong City, I should say, winner throw-in. But the Gully are currently on a 12-game winless streak dating back to last season, which is the longest stretch in league play in this proud football club's history. 12 matches without a win. They haven't won since match day 19 last season. It was here, and it was against the eventual champions, Oakleigh, because of course it was.
It's strange the way football works sometimes, Brent.
Well, no better stat encapsulates the unpredictable nature of the NPL Victorian top division than that one right there. Here's a throw-in right in the corner. Ravali Sesnick. In fact, this is a corner kick or a throw-in?
He's indicated for the corner here as Mr. Quartermain. As we see Webster get forward and, well, likely targets All about the quality of the cross here.
Scored a couple of goals already from corner kicks. Dandenong City, that famous one in the derby. A right-footed in-swinger from Sesnick. It's not a great delivery. Lambatarides pleads for a follow-up corner. And our referee, Jock Quartermain, says, no, it's a Green Gully goal kick.
Yeah, disappointing delivery from Sesnick. Nick Tolia's not happy with that. A real worm burner, not really giving the big men a chance in the 6-yard box to test out the number 2 goalkeeper, Caruso. So that relieves the pressure for Gully, but you're going to want to play the football tonight in the Dandenong City half. And at the moment, Dandenong City have started the brighter of the two in the opening 5 minutes.
Looking very bright and vibrant in their red and blue, of course. Bali Sesnick, who we just saw deliver that less than stellar corner kick. He'll be having happy memories of his days playing for Port Melbourne, where he was only a season or two ago. Second season now at Dandenong City. As Paul Hodges rides a couple of challenges in there. Keepy Upsy's in midfield. Latham has been prominent early already for Hajduk. He wins it back here. It's a lovely little ball in behind for Will Bauer, who gives Dandenong City the perfect start on the road in the Gully.
Yeah, great move. Dandenong City, we just said, Green Gully need to get this performance off on the best possible note tonight. Well, it couldn't have started worse. They've been opened up there. Their defence is caught square. And it's that man again, Will Bauer. He's been so lethal this season down that left flank. Perfect timing of the run. The Green Gully defenders looking over at the assistant referee as the flag stayed down. And the finish past Caruso was picture perfect. Dandenong City taking the lead in this one. And the team who's had no problem scoring goals, it's just been their regular conceit of goals that's cost them so far this season. They bagged their 9th in round 5 of the competition. 3 scoring boys from Melbourne South East. Off to a flyer on Friday night on the Labor Day long weekend. NPL Victoria live stream. We hope you're enjoying this one wherever you're tuning in. Steve Curtin and Brent Sternberg providing you company to kickstart a long weekend. That the summer weather is still here as well. It's 28 degrees at kickoff, so these players will be experiencing some warmer conditions. That might slow the tempo of the football a little bit too, perhaps, Brent.
Yes, indeed. He got to 29 degrees here in Melbourne today. Will Bauer with his 3rd goal of the season after that opening game brace in that 3-3 draw with St Albans. And after they had that corner kick only a moment or so earlier that they might have liked to have done a little better. And like you were talking about, Steve, try and test this young goalkeeper who will be nervous. He'll be feeling even worse about the proposition now, having conceded a goal, though it should be said his 4 defensive mates up ahead of him didn't really help him in that little passage of play there. Will Bauer certainly onside. Green Gully going in search of an equaliser here. Hope turning and looking for Declan Wynn. South African-born Kiwi. Here's Sesnick going past Lockhead. And all the way to the byline now, Sesnick. It's a good recovery from the Scotsman. And he wins it right back and sends Gully back on their way. This is Gianluca Iannucci back in the starting 11 tonight. Has come off the bench the past 2 games. A wonderful player. We know that he can score from just about any blade of grass on the pitch. He's scored some of the best goals that we have seen here in Victoria over the past 2 or 3 years. And, well, they need all the offensive firepower that they can get, Steve, because I think they've only scored 3 goals so far this season, 2 of those coming from 12 yards.
Yes, it's an alarming stat. You mentioned that there's no Amir Abdullah in the team tonight as well. Really looking for options up front. So many first-choice players not available for selection tonight. 10 or 11. Staggering, but Lockhead getting on the ball here. He was instrumental in that last passage of play where they went forward, looking for Hallam out wide right, but there was no one really else up there to support Hallam. It's going to be a matter of can Gully get bodies forward into that final third and create some problems here for Dandenong City, who will probably be happy to sit on this lead, but that's the time where Gully really need to strike here.
One thing that they have not done very well this season, Dandenong City, is defending leads. Scored first now for the 3rd match in a row, but they haven't spent a lot of time in front. Of course, they scored early on in the Dandenong derby a fortnight ago, and at half-time were behind. And they took a late lead against Preston at home the week before and conceded a late equaliser. Obviously, that wonderful strike from George Lambatarides that gave them the lead at home last week. By the time it was said and done, they had lost by 3-1. Gully with a turnover in midfield. Here's Iannucci. Plays it across the top of the 6-yard box. I think it was designed for Hope, but it's picked up instead by Lockhead, who turns back onto his right boot, reluctant to shoot. Hope trying to lay it off to Amanzi. Wise to it was Jamie Latham. It looks like he might have found his place in the starting lineup now for Dandenong City after being in and out of the Nick Tolios starting 11 the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, you think he'll enjoy a slightly more advanced role in this Dandenong City side than we saw him playing in a slightly deeper midfield role when he was here at Green Gully. And it's a real former Green Gully look to this central midfield area for Dandenong City, with Danny Kim in there as well tonight.
Yeah. It was only Liam Driscoll that played more minutes in the shirts last season. A turnover here. Kaniathu for that man, Jamie Latham. It's a poor miss. It's a really, really poor miss. Latham and his teammates and his coaches on the bench have their head in their hands, and that is one that Jamie Latham would like to have back again. Trying to curl it into that far corner on the outside of the boots. And Steve's having a look at the replay. I just don't think Jamie had to be that cute.
He just didn't. I think he had he had too much time for him. He could have lined it up on his right or left. Got caught in two minds a little bit perhaps, and tried to place it with the outside of the right boot. I think he just couldn't believe how much space and time he had there after Dandenong City conceded a goal in a similar fashion last week through an errant back pass. Already 1-0 up. It should have been 2 there. Latham scoring against his old team is what should have happened.
Giannakopoulos just couldn't quite get the pass from Sesnick under his spell, and then to add insult to injury, he's pulled up for a foul. Well, it should be 2-0, Dandenong City. It's not 2-0, but already a couple of serious breakdowns defensively from Green Gully.
You can see the leadership out there in all lines of play. Obviously, Jack Webster in defence is one of the most revered figures, as a real spiritual figure in the Dandenong City squad. Battery is an experienced figure in midfield as well. Kenny Athu as well. Not a bad player to have. So talent in all of those defensive and attacking lines. And also an experienced keeper in Piers Clark as well. Their experience is just showing at the moment out there, Brent.
Yeah, they did really well to hold on to a lot of their players that propelled them into an unlikely final series last season. Of course, they were a newly promoted side. It's easy to forget in 2024. Did that run from City last season surprise you, Steve? Hold that thought. As the Gully are coming forward through Paul Hodges. Finds the ball through for Hope, who snatches at it, and it's relatively comfortable for Piers Clark.
Yeah, it's better signs for Gully. Getting the ball in the possession of Hodges, and then Josh Hope is so good at making those runs beyond the number 9, as we saw there again. That's when Gully are really playing their best football, when we see Hope getting into those positions. But yeah, certainly last season I thought that they might have brought some of their form in from their second-tier promotion the previous year, but they really exceeded everyone's expectations, including mine, in the way that they're able to leapfrog against a bunch of up and above a bunch of established clubs in that mid-table area, and it's so hard in that part of the table. It's a real scramble week in, week out. Fine margins, and yeah, they're really impressed, and all their fans will be really proud of Nick Tolios and the team's performance last year, and what we've seen from them this year as well. They've been unlucky not to have some more points on the board.
Sesnick and Latham have been absolutely dynamite through the opening 10 minutes here. Giannakopoulos, who has started at right back and not in the heart of defence. Webster's playing alongside Gaku Inaba, with Giannakopoulos at right back. It's the third different position that he's played already this season, Giannakopoulos. He's played at centre half, he's played as a defensive midfielder, and now at right back.
You don't mind him as a right back. He looks pretty crafty. He likes to get forward. He kind of put some pressure on that Green Gully defence to be that extra number. Putting the pressure on. We saw Regay with a big towering header there. He started at left back of all places last week. One of the taller left backs we've seen. I'll hold that thought.
Latham's onside. Can't get the pass into the 18-yard box. Pass to the scrambling Jalil Regay. Iannucci has been dispossessed by that man Giannakopoulos, who of course was suspended for round 1 because he was red carded in that final against Oakley. It was a game that City played the last 30 or so minutes with not 10 men, 9 men. Both Giannakopoulos and Jack Webster were red carded in that match.
It's an entertaining one. And again, another high-scoring game involving Dandy City.
Well, they, coming into match day 5, Dandy City, they conceded 10 goals, which was the second most. Melbourne Knights ahead of them, only conceding 11. And like we mentioned in the preamble, Steve, some of the goals that they have conceded this season, Dandy City, really disappointing. And a couple of horrible defensive errors, as that ball's almost been knocked in behind again, this time for Giannakopoulos. A couple of tap-ins on the line as well. We think of the Kyle Taylor goal that they conceded in the Dandenong derby. Late equaliser that Preston scored was a tap-in as well. Matthew taken away beautifully by Lockhead. Hodges is stretching. Philip Panuncio in his second day as a 19-year-old. He turned 19 yesterday. A young right back for the Gully. Way back for Caruso. Oh, it's not the best pass for Regay. Gets bounced very awkwardly. Here's Wynn. Gully trying to play out from the back, but they've conceded possession. It was doomed from the start. Cesnik rolling to the byline, in towards the back post. That's gone right through the gloves of Caruso, and then right along the goal line. And in fact, the referee has seen something there. Did it go out of play?
Let's go.
It has gone out of play via a deflection. And we've got a corner kick. So it might have been the deflection that caused it to be a tricky one for Caruso to get a handle on. Anyway, the bottom line is it's Dandenong City's second corner kick of the match.
I'm not sure who's going to take this corner here, Brent. There's no one going over to take it. It's going to be taken from the other side, in fact. So Cesnik over there with his hands on his hips.
Well, his first effort from the corner flag on that side in the early minutes left a lot to be desired. Dandenong City pressing here early in the Gully. Webster and all the tall timber are up there. It goes right through both Inaba and Giannakopoulos. And young Giannakopoulos, I think, was just expecting Inaba to get something on it, and by the time it arrived in front of him, he couldn't possibly react. And Green Gully, defensively, are on tenterhooks here through the first 17 minutes at home.
Yeah, much better ball in that time by Cesnik, Brent. And at the back post, Giannakopoulos, I think he just sees it a little bit late. Crowd of bodies flashed through everybody. Just needed some contact there, and it was 2-0. Really impressed with City so far.
Well, but for the football gods, it could have already been a 2 or 3 goal lead. Early stanza here at Green Gully Reserve being dominated by the away side in red and blue. Clark. Here is Inaba. They're loving these early balls, looking to try and get runs in behind. Have been pretty successful as well. Not on that occasion. Inaba and Hallam going to battle. Here's Scott Lockhead, one of the many Green Gully signings this season. With the Betley Greens in the second division last year. Regay, here is Declan Wynn. Back for Lockhead, trying to loft it in and over the top, and Iannucci is on the break. Brings it down nicely. Gianluca Iannucci couldn't get it to bend. And Green Gully were inches away from finding an equaliser that would have come right against the run of play.
Oh, much better from Gully. Literally doing what Dandenong City's been doing to them. Just that quick ball forward from defence. Down the left-hand side. Iannucci is so dangerous in those positions, and if you give him that chance again, he will punish you. Hit it very sweetly as well. Got it out of his feet. Just didn't quite have the finish. Again, good signs for Gully. Dandenong City have had all the play so far. I feel aggrieved to get pegged back to 1-1 after having a couple of really good opportunities, including that chance. Jamie Latham was probably only 10 or 12 yards out with all the time in the world to pick his spot, put it past the post.
Well, no doubt that they'll be thinking that as well, Dandenong City, as they flirt with another turnover here before eventually conceding the foul, is that they've had all the run of play, but it's only a 1-goal lead. And so there'll be that man on the shoulder, the devil on the shoulder, saying you have been much the better team, and Gully are starting to find a little bit of momentum here. They're only staring down a 1-goal deficit.
Just see that confidence coming back to Iannucci with that
Yeah.
first touch on that previous receipt of the ball as well. A bit of swagger for this team. Their confidence would have been knocked for a 6er last week. A real horror show, losing at Janelle Murphy.
Great ball forward, great first touch from Declan Wynn. Webster is across quickly to close him down, and it's behind for the Gullies' first corner kick of the match.
Good cover from Webster there, but a chance here for Janelle Regaig and the tall timber to get into the box. He will be the prime target.
They haven't had much practice from corner kicks this season, the Gully. They've only had 14 in total, which is half of Dandenong City's number through 4 games. They only had 1 last week. Can they create an opportunity here? Slightly overhit. In fact, it's well overhit. Amanzi was rising, but even too tall for he. Giannakopoulos meanders over and picks it up, and Will Bauer was not fouled, so Hodges is allowed to play on. Plays it tantalisingly into the 18-yard box, where Webster and Pierce Clark had a Mexican standoff, and eventually they clear it to safety.
I feel like time stood still there, Brent. Webster controlled the ball. He passed the test with flying colours in the end, but I feel like there was a few heart palpitations, even for an experienced player like he, in the process.
Gully lifting as Wynn whips it in. Pierce Clark not taking any chances this time. He comes out and claims. But good little signs here for the home side the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, just that last set piece, Gully really let the chance go begging a little bit. All the men gathered at the back post, and then no one stayed out there for that ball that went over the top.
And Batterides. Bauer on the turn, closed down. Kim quickly out for Sesnick. Numbers in the 18-yard box. He's looking for Athieu. Couldn't quite bring it down. Lockhead's been probably Gully's best player through the opening 20 or so minutes. He has played 21 minutes here. With Green Gully reserve. Of course, we've got a very big match coming up very shortly. And if you are watching on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel and you're going to nick off in 10 minutes or so, we can't blame you. It is a big match. But do pop back in to have a look and see if Green Gully can find their way back into this one. Just because it's a good match on paper doesn't mean it's going to be a great match. Although it's probably going to be Preston and South Melbourne we're talking about, of course. Sell out. They put the sold out sign out the front.
What an occasion that is. Their first league meeting since 2009. When they met in the Cup last year, it was a real rip snorter in front of a packed house as well.
Here's Bauer. Numbers aligning in the 18-yard box. Bauer cuts back onto his right. Kenny Athieu in off the uprights. Latham may have got a touch, but the bottom line is Dandenong City do have their second goal. And the boys in the red and blue from Frank Holohan are sitting pretty a long, long way from home. And they take this match in Green Gully by the throat.
Yeah, another fine finish here for King Kenny. Will Bauer, again, instrumental in the build-up. A goal and an assist for him.
What's your call there, Steve? Was that Kenny Athieu? Did Latham maybe got a strand of hair on us? Anyway, here we are at Green Gully Reserve. Green Gully 0. Dandenong City 2. And City are doing what they haven't been able to do the past couple of weeks, and that's capitalise on their chances, although it must be said they've had a couple of golden opportunities that have gone squandered. It really could be 4-0 on another night. Steve Curtin, he wants to get this goal scorer correct to help out our stats man.
The adjudication panel here. We're going to settle on King Kenny's goal. Yeah. Kenny Athieu.
And they're on the build again here. Hajduk, Latham. Back for Webster. Of course, Kenny Athieu scored for the wrong team last week, so you'll be happy to...
Good to cancel that out.
Yeah, his second goal of the campaign. Lambatarides. The Dandenong City players in the final third just getting into some really dangerous positions and in a worrying amount of space. Inaba, again the long diagonal. Lino is after it. Gets there just in the nick of time. Into the 18-yard box. Jamie Latham brings it down quite brilliantly. Trying to create some space for himself. All Dandenong City here in the gully. Kim to the back post. And flying through the air is Lawrence Caruso. And he takes a wonderful mark in the penalty area as the red and blue shirts were about to pounce again at the back post for goal number 3.
Sit in. 6 by yourself.
Caruso is going to try and hit this one long. And it's going to come straight back again, it looks like.
Well, it's been a tough initiation to the NPL Victoria for Lawrence Caruso. He was with the Western Sydney Wanderers youth side. He didn't play for them last season, but he did make 20 or so appearances in 2023. Just 2 clean sheets in those 20 appearances. Obviously not going to be keeping a clean sheet tonight. Giannakopoulos down below us, readying himself for the throw-in. And Batterides just throws Josh Hope to the ground. It is going to be a free kick for Green Gully a little further on up the pitch.
Yeah, good free kick to win there for Gully. Need to get their foot on the ball here and try and control something.
Just on their season last season, 6 wins, 6 draws, 14 losses. 12th on the table, 3rd last. Of course, we only had 2 teams go down last year. This year we will have 3. So if Green Gully finish in 12th again, they're going down, and that would be devastating for a team that has been in the top flight of Victorian football for almost half a century. Lockhead riding the challenges. Just looking for some support, but there isn't any. Gully a chance to recycle possession here, but they give it away. Latham and Atthew trying to hurdle the Green Gully defenders. Latham somehow has regained possession, and Atthew plays it forward, but just a little bit too central. He had Sesnick and Bauer on either side, and he split the difference.
Just couldn't quite coordinate the move, but when they break, they look devastating. It's a real warning to Gully, who are trying to put their best foot forward and get the ball into that Dandenong City third, but they really can't afford to be playing the ball into midfield, into that number 6 position and turning the ball over, that's for sure. They will pay the price. Really big role for Carl Imanzi. Started in central defence last week, playing in that deep-lying midfield role tonight. Hasn't quite got his teeth into it yet so far in the first quarter of an hour. First 25 minutes, should I say, Brent?
Floodlights starting to take full effect here. Green Gully reserve. And they've played in a couple of draws already here at home this season. Green Gully, a good 1-1 draw against Oakley, a match that they did take the lead in. They probably would have taken that at the start of the season. And then a 1-1 draw with Hume City a couple of weeks ago. They are in a hole here at home this evening. Dandenong City
Better here than out there.
couldn't have done much more so far throughout the opening 27 or so minutes to get themselves on the winners list for the first time in 2025. Amanzi just loops that one forward. Hope can't really make a play at it.
Well, you just wonder here, Brent, we might be seeing an early sub even for Green Gully, because Joe McGlynn, who got his first start last week, returning from injury, but short of match fitness. Speaking to the coaching staff, they said he might have played maybe a little bit too many minutes last week.
Right.
Maybe pulling up a bit sore after that one, but he's just warming up and he's just taken off the necklace. Maybe that's a sign of an imminent first half substitute, because they're really lacking something in that attacking position so far tonight. Anyway, Casper Hallam has been tasked with leading the line. Something of a diminutive figure to play that role.
John McGlynn played the full 90 last week. Another long ball forward. Atthew just beyond his reach, and a timely header from Jalil Regaig. Green Gully might be about to go to the bench, shake things up a little bit. You get that sense that they have to do something like that. I don't want to use the word drastic, but they have to do something to try and disrupt the status quo here. Outside of a little 4 or 5 minute burst, where they had a corner kick and a Gianluca Iannucci strike go just wide. It's been all the away side here in the Gully. Amanzi. Hodges has had plenty of the ball, but Hasn't had a lot of time or space when he's had possession. Iannucci bangs it forward. Casper Hallam was there somewhere, but too close to the goalkeeper, Pierce Clark. And Green Gully just on that, their history in this league. It's their 48th consecutive season in the top division of Victoria. Pierce Clark's going to play that one out of play. From 1977 to 2025, with the exception of 3 seasons in the mid-80s where they were in the National Soccer League. 84, 85 and 86. And that 1984 season was the only other season in which Green Gully have failed to get a victory in their first 5 league games. Hodges cutting inside and looking dangerous and then firing, but didn't quite wrap his laces around it. And it goes harmlessly out for a goal kick. So just that point at large, Steve, is it'll be devastating, really, to see a team, you know, of the prestige of Green Gully not in the top flight. When you think about everything that's happening with the Australian Championship, and we're all sort of moving forward, if Gully were to be relegated, they'd be going backwards when everybody else is going the other way.
Yeah, you put it that way, it sounds even worse, really, for Green Gully. And they came so close in 2018, that playoff against Moreland City, trailing in the final minutes of that one, somehow pulled it out of the fire.
116th minute winner from Nicholas Cruceratis in that particular game. You don't get much closer than that.
Incredible. And they were so consistent for a long time with a squad of players under Stephen Downs. Alex Salmon leading the line for so long. Jay Davies, that metronome at the base of midfield. Jared Tyson in goals. Some really, big name players. And they haven't really managed to transition from that Stephen Downs era of Green Gully to something else. It used to be a bit of a frightening place to go to come out here, a scary place to come out into Melbourne's outer northwest. At the moment, it's just all a little bit too nice to come here and play on a beautiful pitch and bang in a few goals as Port Melbourne, the guys wearing a Port Melbourne kit almost, Dandenong City, have managed to do tonight at least once, but they could have had a couple more. So the upside for Gully still is the fact that they could get themselves back into this one with just one moment of brilliance from a player like Josh Hope is on the ball now.
I'm not going to hold that against you calling them Port Melbourne, Steve, as Giannakopoulos jumps in. And is that going to be a final warning, I think, for the Dandenong City right back? It's been on the tip of my lip to say Port Melbourne about 5 times tonight, just force of habit. It is the first time we've seen them in their away kits this evening. It's
not often you see as well. Yeah, the Hajduk, the white home kit, as Hajduk splitting in the HNL, the HNL, I think is the correct pronunciation there for that one. The white shirts for the home and the red and blue stripes for the away kit. And it looks great. Slight angle on it. They're not exactly vertical, are they? A little bit of mystique about that as they set up to defend this set-piece opportunity for Gully. It's all about the quality of the delivery here.
From the set-piece, Iannucci is the deliverer. In towards the back post. Regaig, Nugent are both there. And Regaig hasn't given away a foul. And the shot from Hodges is blocked. Green Gully still in possession. Regaig, another shot blocked. And he's happy enough to take the throw in. So just a bit of housekeeping. There was no yellow card there for Giannakopoulos. So still a clean book for our referee, Jock Quartermain, in the middle. Iannucci. 33 minutes gone at Green Gully Reserve. Green Gully nil, Dandenong City 2. Goals for Will Bauer and Kenny Athieu. Gully on the prowl again. Hodges. Regaig has stayed up for this attack. Hodges! Got much better contact that time. And it's drawn quite a good save from Pierce Clark down low at the near post. A Gully corner kick.
Yeah, good build up there from Gully that time. You saw the captain, Nugent, he stepped into the number 6 role into midfield, stepped out of the defensive line to get involved in the build-up play. That extra man in there. Dandenong City not dealing with it as well, and they get themselves a set-piece opportunity here, Gully, to try and grab one back before half-time.
Scott Lockhead, I believe this is, for a left-footed in-swinger. Into the mix it goes, into a wonderful position. It's clawed away by Clark. Hallam can't quite salvage it. Amarji, Nugent spoons it over. But Hajduk was scrambling defensively. And Maurice Nugent, he trots back to his defensive post. The Irishman, you were just talking about him there, Steve. Well, he would have done well to score from there. He would have had to get it through about 7 or 8 flailing defensive bodies, unable to.
Good ball in that time by Lockhead, and it almost fell for Casper Hallam at the back post area. Just couldn't line up the ball to get an attempt on Piers Clark's goal. Piers Clark made a bit of a meal of trying to catch the cross as well, so he'll be breathing a sigh of relief at the moment too. Well, he made a bit of a gaff last week.
Yes.
He made a couple, and one which he was made to pay for.
Yes, I don't know if Pearce would have slept all that well during the week. A couple of, as you say, Steve, really bad blunders. Lockhead. Again, they play the long ball. Gully, Webster. All good enough for Clark, as Hallam was bearing down on him. He would have been having flashbacks.
Yeah, good weight on the header there from Webster. Experience shown again. Risque sort of clearance there by Piers Clark, and he's going to give possession back to Gully. So Gully getting a little bit of momentum here in the last 10 minutes of the first half, Brent.
Well, we know how much goals can change games. Gully can just pinch a late one here. I mean, on balance, they probably deserve to be 2 goals down, to be truthful, at half-time. But if they can nick one, they'll feel a lot better about life. They've conceded it cheaply, though, the possession, that is. Sesnick can't quite link it up with Athieu. Latham throws himself at it. Amanzi. Oh, the Dandenong City Walls closing in. Amanzi recovered really well there. Wasn't fouled, so we play on, win. Casper Hallam. Again brought down. Well, they've been averaging the most fouls against this season so far, Dandenong City, and yet they are the team with the best disciplinary record, only 6 yellow cards, which is by far the fewest. Calmly done there by young Caruso. Again, a terrible turnover from the Gully. Lambatarides. Bauer trying to return the favour, but just took a deflection. And they are up against the ropes here, Green Gully. They're trying to get it back into their attacking half. Hallam, he's got options on the far side. He's undercooked the pass, though, and it's tidied up by Lino and City back in possession.
Dandenong City working so hard without the ball there, making Gully look very poor, bringing the ball out of defence. And we saw Jalil Regaig turn the ball over twice. Disappointing from a Gully point of view, but all those midfielders pressing up, including the fullbacks as well, getting involved and really limiting the space that Gully have got to play out of. And here they come on the attack again. Yeah,
another mistake from Hope. He's trying to put out the fire here. Panunzio, his attempted clearance deflected by Latham. And now here's Jackson Lino on the burn. He's got Will Bauer. He's just let it run past him. Sesnick couldn't quite take possession. Lambatarides dives in. Hope comes away with the ball for the Gully. And now Hodges, who's probably just about looked their most dangerous player. Hacked down from behind by Danny Kim. And Danny Kim is going to be the first player into the book this evening. A yellow card for the Hajduk midfielder.
Take your pick there, a couple of late challenges.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that ball could have been played through by Hodges for Casper Hallam, maybe, but Hodges decided to continue on his run, and Gully are going to get the chance for a set-piece opportunity, and they'll be relieved to be out of their half and just take a bit of a breather here, because they were under the pump in their own defensive third for a good few minutes there with that pressing effort from Nick Tolios' side. Really well-organised press from Dandenong City, and it's one of those facets of their game that makes them really hard to play against. That's why we saw them playing finals football last year.
They're able to flip the pitch here, the Gully. And they take a free kick short rather than try and get Dandenong City on the back foot. There's a nice diagonal from Regaig, but Declan Wynn, who steps past Yannikopoulos. Hope. Amanzi. Lockhead. Pirouetting. Back for Regaig. In's first touch, a nice one. Hope has gotten away from Lambatarides. Hope to play it into the 18-yard box. We're meeting it with the header was Casper Hallam, and he just needed a little bit more venom on it. And it was destined for the bottom right-hand corner. It's a save in the end for Pierce Clark. But again, better build-up from the Gully.
Josh Hope involved again in that one, and really good ball in. In that space to supply the cross on the left peg. Centimetre perfect for Hallam at the back post.
Thank you, Dennis. Throw in here for Green Gully as we meander our way towards the final 5 minutes of this first half. One of 3 games that we have for you tonight in the top division. We've already mentioned that big clash between Preston and South Melbourne, which
that one is underway.
It is underway, okay.
Looks like it might have been a late kickoff.
Yeah.
I can imagine the crowd getting through the gates there would have been
that may have
colossal,
been what caused
I
it
would
to
say,
delay, perhaps. Yeah, people struggling to get in.
It was normally an 8:30 kickoff out there at BT Corner. That one went forward to 8 o'clock, but then delayed by the crowds.
Lambatarides is allowed to wander a long way here. That's very dangerous. A man who has scored 2 diamond goals each of the past 2 weeks, and he's let Green Gully off the hook there by not quite being able to get that shot on target. The other match that we have this evening is Hume City. Also in action there at home against Altona. We've got a couple of matches to come tomorrow, and we've got a couple of matches on Sunday. We're actually playing some Sunday afternoon football this week. In the last few weeks we've just skipped Sunday and gone right to Monday night.
Monday night, yes. It's been a bit of an adjustment. It's been some entertaining football on Monday nights. That match between South and Melbourne Victory that finished 3-3 on the Monday night a couple of weeks ago was...
And we had probably the upset of the season so far. This Monday just gone.
What a result for the boys just down the road from here, St Albans, Churchill Reserve. They'll get to play at home for the first time this season on tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. It's going to be steaming hot for Avondale for their visit to pitch number 3. Pitch number 1 not ready yet with the renovations, but they'll be playing that one on pitch 3, so Avondale getting treated to an occasion in Melbourne's northwest.
Well, Latham's on side here. Kenny Athew has found him. Latham made a mistake earlier in the match. He does not make the same mistake twice. And once again, Green Gully have been surgically opened up by the boys in the red and blue. And on the stroke of half-time, Hajduk take a commanding 3-goal lead. And Jamie Latham, who might have scored in the early minutes here, if not for a really bad miss, he atones for himself, and they might be out the front gate and down the street and gone, Dandenong City.
Yeah, hats off to Kenny Athew there, receiving the ball right in the centre of the park, as good strikers do, and then playing it out wide quickly, directly. Jalil Regag was busy hailing a cab there, but the flag stayed down from the assistant referee, John White, here on the near side, because Jamie Latham was onside, and he scores against his old side. He was denied an even easier chance earlier in the first half, but he made no mistake on this time. A really good finish past Caruso. 3-0 here. Dandenong City racing away with this one. Nick Tolios smiling ear to ear to our right over here, Brent, as we approach half-time.
And rightly so. I imagine it would have been a really difficult drive home from the... I should say, the Dandenong City crew after throwing away a 1-goal lead at home last week to Hume City. And just some of the goals that they conceded, which we mentioned, but they just really... They went down the tunnel at half-time and they almost didn't come back out. I mean, it was a second half dominated by the boys in red. So this has been quite an impressive showing here away from home tonight for Dandenong City. And just those long balls going forward have looked absolutely dynamite, and Green Gully, on a few occasions, the centre halves have put their hand up and looked back at the linesman, more praying for the offside flag, rather than actually expecting to see it. It's been quite stark.
Yeah, those changes that we saw in their defensive line last week with Regag playing as the left back and having Carly Manzi playing in there with Nugent. This week, Nugent going into midfield, Regag back into central defence alongside Nugent. Just not really, the chemistry is not there.
Yeah, and it's been, the proof has been in the pudding for Gully tonight, and it's not a very nice tasting pudding right now. It's a pudding that someone has put salt in instead of sugar, I think. This is going to have to be one of the most critical half-time chats that David Chick has maybe delivered in his coaching career, because this is a season for Green Gully that is disappearing quickly. I know it's only match day 5. They're on the march here. Win. Hope. Can they salvage something from the first half wreckage here, the Gully? To take something into the half-time team talk. Iannucci for Casper Hellam, who couldn't quite rise quickly enough. And then Lockhead's follow-up shot was deflected, and it's behind for a corner kick as we enter 2 minutes of first half stoppage time.
Yeah, good save from Pierce Clark there. It's like one of those ones where you're playing a bit of indoor football in the lounge room as a kid and you've got to do the goalkeeping on your knees. That was the position he found himself in. And he repelled that attempt from Lockhead. But Iannucci now with the chance for the corner kick, and boy, do Gully need a goal here before the break.
Well, Nick Tolios' smile would be wiped off his dial if they concede here to the back post. Matthew heads it away from goal. Amanzi. It's back for Lockhead, who was tripped up but doesn't earn the foul. Mopped up by Carl Amanzi. Gully making a late case here. In for the back post, Regag. Oh, I just don't think he quite knew how he was going to be able to bring that one down. And he also can't stop it from going out for a throw-in. He was sort of caught between a rock and a hard place there. The boot, the head. In the end, he couldn't get possession.
He really needed to use his head and try and get that one to float back across the goal. So just caught in two minds a little bit. The footwork not there, and he's had a tough first half, Jalil Regag.
Well, they haven't had too many winners in the green and white. I mean, Lockhead's been pretty good. Iannucci has sort of drifted in and out of the match. Hallam's had a few balls to chase, but really outside of that Iannucci effort, they haven't had too much to show for it. Here's Lockhead, closed down and goes hurdling over the Dandy City player. Len Batterides plays it away, and it looks like
play the ball.
Hajduk's 3-goal lead is going to be safe for the keeping at half-time, and indeed it is. Wow. Very, very impressive from the boys in red and blue, from Frank Holohan. Nick Tolios and his assistants head across the pitch and down the tunnel, very happy with what they have seen in the opening 45. They were in this position last week with a lead at half-time. That was the narrowest of leads, just the 1-goal lead, and they are sitting pretty. Hajduk with a 3-goal lead away from home this time around, and it would have to be a very, very drastic turnaround for this to go pear-shaped this time around as far as Dandenong City are concerned.
Yeah, that opening goal from Will Bauer on just 6 minutes, hot on the heels of their defeat last Friday night at Port Melbourne, really took the jam out of the Green Gully donut, and they just couldn't recover as the match continued. And Kenny Athu's nice headed goal off a Will Bauer cross, and then Jamie Latham. And it was Kenny Athu supplying the assist for that one. So those front men have been red hot for Dandenong City, and it's really all to do here for Green Gully on their home patch. They've been embarrassed by Dandenong City, and they've got a lot of work to do in the second half, Brent.
It's not easy being Green Gully in 2025, and they are in a world of hurt at half-time. Brent Sternberg and Steve Curtin here with you on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. And the score at half-time, a troublesome one for the home side. Green Gully 0, Dandenong City 3.
Go on now. Yeah. Come on, let's go. Come on. Don't drop your heads. Can't, boys, can't. Fresh game. Come on. Go. 2, 1. Yeah, there. Come on. Fucking fire up here. Come on.
Four of you.
23 off, 3 on.
Yes.
Good to go.
Welcome back to Green Gully Reserve, everybody. Just about set to go for the second half here with Brent Sternberg and Stephen Curtin on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. Match day 5, Friday night football in the Gully, Green Gully in the green and white. And it's not Port Melbourne, it's Dandenong City in the very Port Melbourne-ish red and blue kits. And they are looking pretty and sitting pretty on a 3-goal lead at half-time. 3 goals in the first half to Will Bauer, Kenny Athew and the former Gully man, it's Jamie Latham, has the away side looking good as we venture into this second half. Gully have made one change at half-time. Riley Byrne comes in to replace the departing Carl Amanzi. So Amir Abdullah stays on the bench for now for David Chick's side, as does a couple of other dangerous players as well in Joe McGlynn and a couple of their youngsters, as I welcome in Steve Curtin into the second half. For the first time, this is a big 45 minutes of football for the Gully, Steve.
It is. This could be season-defining. Brent, make no mistake here, and it looks like the change at half-time that they've made, bringing in Riley Byrne, who is he is a big unit, Riley Byrne, in the number 3. He's gone into defence. He's out there directing his teammates around, and Nugent has gone into the defensive midfield role. His chance for Sesnick.
Just inside the 18-yard box, he did well to open up the angle for himself and then fired it a little high and a little wide. So in that first half, you may be surprised to learn that Green Gully actually had more shots at goal than Dandenong City. Total, 8 shots to 5 in favour of the home side. Gully had 4 shots on target to Dandenong City's 3. So all of the shots that City had on target were on target. They went past the goalkeeper and into the net. So lethal in and around the goal mouth for Dandenong City. We remind you, coming into tonight, these were 2 of the 3 teams that had yet to taste victory. And barring a dramatic turnaround in this second half, looks like it's going to be Green Gully and Melbourne Victory as the 2 winless teams in the top flight, until the Victory, of course, play later this weekend. There's a chance potentially for Sesnick trying to step his way through the crowded house in midfield back into the starting 11 tonight. Marley Sesnick, Riley Byrne into the action. Caruso, a tough first half for him in the, or on I should say, NPL Victoria debut. That pass from Inaba worked a treat, even though it looked a little ugly. Lino and Lambatarides. Lino's trying to get through Panunzio. Eventually he does. He did ever so well. Iannucci trips up Riley Byrne all the way back to Lawrence Caruso. So Riley Byrne, this is his second appearance of the season. The first time he's seen the field since starting that match day 1 loss to the Dandenong Thunder. What do you think might have been at the top of the David Chick's whiteboard at half-time? Steve, it could have been anything, really.
Oh, wow. Well, they've got to tighten up defensively, Brent. They're particularly their goals that they conceded. Just the slide rule pass through the defence. Not only the defensive line being out of step, but also the pressure on the ball carrier in the lead up too is something that they're going to have to focus on. And I think they're going to focus on tightening that defence up and then see where they can go from there. But
well, I suspect
it's a big challenge.
Even Nick Tolios and some of the City players out there are probably at half-time were a bit surprised at how much space they were able to find when pushing forward. Awkward clearance there, sorry.
Certainly Jamie Latham was surprised at how much space he had when he spurned that chance on about 15 or 20 minutes into the game. Maybe Hope can pull the strings a little here for Gully.
Well, if they got some hope here in Josh, who twists and turns and then fires it into the 6-yard box. Webster made a bit of a hash of the clearance, and then it dropped onto the boot of Hodges, but he wasn't able to react in time to construct anything of any real danger. And Piers Clark smothers it. Yeah, you would think that if there was one player that the Gully knew that they can't give time and space, it would be Jamie Latham. Time and time again, he was able to get himself into, like we say, not just dangerous areas, but with enough room to just be able to run away from everybody and create a chance at goal.
Look at him here, hard pressing. Keeping the pressure on. His pace across the ground has been a constant threat for Gully tonight as he's come back to haunt his former employer.
Josh Hope, we saw a moment ago, he's playing in a little bit more of an advanced position this week. He was playing as a number 6 last week in that loss to Port Melbourne. And tonight he's played almost as a second striker alongside Casper Hallam. There's a nice long diagonal for Philip Panunzio to chase. He doesn't go with the first time cross. He goes right along the byline, and I believe it's been a corner kick for the Gully.
Thought he might have won the free kick there, but
yeah. I was just wondering exactly where the corner flag was pointing. But it is a corner for the Gully. It's been a little bit brighter of a start to the second half.
Deeper, deeper!
Again to take. I'd love an early goal. Into the back stick, and then it's headed home by Casper Hallam. But our man in the middle, Jock Quartermain, has seen something in there that has warranted the goal being waved away. And the frustrations that are bubbling away here at Green Gully Reserve continue to bubble.
Yeah, we'll catch that one again. I think maybe for a foul on Piers Clark was the decision. You heard the early whistle there from Jock Quartermain. Not a lot in it, but Piers Clark felt his pass of the ball was impeded.
Well, it's been a difficult proposition anyway, scoring goals so far this season for Green Gully. They finally create an opening, only for it to be waved away due to a foul in the process. As you look at how they play, Steve, we've seen them for about 51 minutes here. When you look at them play, what do you think is the Gully's most likely avenue towards a goal?
I'd be wishing it was Amir Abdallah, who's been the route to goal that they've had to rely on so far this season. He's not out there, though, so look, at the moment, I just don't know. I can't really see them troubling the scorers as it stands at the moment. Josh Hope has been doing his bit to provide that extra man overlapping from a central role into the wide areas beyond the 9. You know, he's the experienced figure out there who's played at the higher level, but Matthew might be getting in behind here again.
Riley Boone absolutely asleep at the wheel there. Matthew back for Latham. The Energizer Bunny out there in the red and blue. Lino just took his eye off the ball at the wrong moment. They maintain possession here, Dandenong City. Latham, Lambatarides, Lino, who's going right at young Panunzio, clashes straight into him and loses the ball. Green Gully will try again, looking to play out from the back. Hallam brings it down nicely, but has absolutely no help. He's on an island, Casper. Hope comes up to try and join the attack. Hallam's trying to drop the shoulder and get past Inaba. For Iannucci. The attack just peters out a little bit. Nugent, who stepped up into midfield with Riley Byrne coming on. gives it away rather disappointingly. Hajduk back in possession to Cesnik and back for Webster. Yeah, barring a Dandenong City catastrophic mistake or, you know, an Iannucci moment of wonder, can't quite see how the Gully are going to find a goal. Latham and Lambatarides, and Latham this time had strayed offside. And that is, I think, the first time that the offside flag has gone up on a Dandenong City attack. Meantime, Kenny Athieu goes into the book.
Yeah, the first time that they've missed time their run, and Kenny Athieu didn't agree with the decision. He's been booked for his protest of that.
So Kenny Athieu joins Danny Kim as the two players in the little referee's book of Jock Quartermain, who I will mention again, this is his first match that he's overseen in the middle of this season, just his second that's in the top division of Victorian football.
He's done well tonight, the young man.
He did oversee the matchday 26 clash between Altona and Manningham United last season. Gully, every time they come out from the back, their fans must be holding their breath. The nice ball into midfield for Iannucci. Lockhead. That was Hodges originally. Iannucci back for Nugents. Hodges, that is surely a foul. Bowled over by Will Bauer. And Paul Hodges has come over from England, where he was playing for Basingstoke Town. Played a lot of football for a lot of teams in the lower rungs of England, including Slough Town, where Mikel Platt was recruited from last off-season.
Right. There's been a few players that have played football at Slough. Cam McGilp as well, who played for Slough and Swindon, which is what I like to refer to as the David Brent double, if you're a fan of the UK version of The Office. What a player he's been as well, Cam McGilp, since impressing at Oakley after coming across from Dandenong Thunder and Melbourne Victory earlier as well.
Lockheed's intricate little pass for Hope. Being worn like a glove and then eventually dispossessed by Athieu. Picks up as much territory as he can and then lays it off for Lambatarides. Dandenong City with plenty of numbers to roll forward in midfield. Here comes Jack Webster. Wonder if he thought about shooting there, Jack. Cesnik on the edge of the 18-yard box, lofts it into the back post. There was no one waiting. They had numbers in the area, Dandenong City, but not in that position. Here is the aforementioned Englishman, Paul Hodges. Out for Casper Hallam, who once again is isolated. I asked the question for a handball. Hallam's running at Inaba and Giannakopoulos, and eventually again forced to retreat. Nugents. Still they poke and prod the Gully. Bonunzio. Hope, who always trying his best in midfield. Had most of probably the lion's share of the possession in this second half. Gully, of course, you'd expect that being 3 goals down. Here's a ball in. Put away by Gaku Inaba, who joined Dandenong City this season from Zweigen Kanazawa in the second division of Japanese football. Has not looked out of place. We do see a lot of players come from all parts of the world and play in this league, in the top division of Victorian football, and sometimes the physicality can overwhelm them. As Hodges. Lockhead.
Go, Riley, go.
Hope. Riley Byrne. Bonunzio plays it casually out of Jackson Lino, right under the nose of Nick Tolios, who was certain that should be a throw-in for Hajduk, but it's not, Nick, it's not.
That's better from Gully. Hodges getting involved. A lot of strapping on that left knee of Paul Hodges, and you just wonder if he's maybe not quite 100% as well.
Might go around the grounds in just a moment. I'm not too sure if there's much to bring to your attention. I'll put Steve to the task And if you don't want to get any updates from Preston, you might have to listen away now. It's a nice ball from Panunzio. Here comes Scott Lockhead, rolling into the 18-yard box, fires it across, and launching himself at the ball was Casper Hallam. And once again, they are shouting at the official in the middle. They are certain that come off the Port Melbourne defender last, and it should be a corner kick. But it is going to be a goal kick, and it's going to be a yellow card for Nick Tolios or one of his comrades. It is the Dandenong City manager. He picks up, by the way, his second booking of the season. So if that is a goal kick, then we can put that down to a missed opportunity from Casper Hallam. Spooned over and out, but great build-up there from Scott Lockhead, and another opportunity that the Gully really might have done better with.
Casper Hallam's really come to life in the last 10 minutes or so, Brent, getting the ball in those little pockets of space, turning and facing forward. You can see his confidence is lifting, and this group of Gully players just so devoid of confidence, particularly after the result last week. They just need that spark, and could Casper Hallam be the one to provide it? It's hard work up there as a front man when you're maybe more suited to be playing as a second striker, a 10, or off a bigger number 9. But look, he's having a crack, and he just needs to find that moment of brilliance to turn this game in the way of Gully. Maybe Iannucci's the man to do it here.
And onto the ball after the initial turnover from Lino. Webster and Iannucci, they go to battle. Iannucci loses the battle and his footing, and then he gets up and just clobbles to Jack Webster. And Jack is not best pleased. He took great exception, and a bit of a flashpoint as the Dandenong City captain is trying to be restrained by teammates, opponents, and the official alike.
He's done a good job tonight, young Jock Quartermain, stepping into the middle. We'll just go around the grounds. Brent out at BT Connor, Jenna Steele Stadium at Reservoir, out there on the banks of the Merry Creek in Melbourne's north. It's scoreless, approaching half-time between the Preston Lions and South Melbourne. It's also scoreless on 20 minutes between Hume City and Altona Magic in the other game that's going on tonight. And it's time for a change for Green Gully. Paperwork has been submitted, and the Scotsman Joe McGlynn is going to be entering the fray here after making his debut in the green and white last week at JL Murphy.
Well, Atthew, that's a nice outside of the boot pass for Bauer, who swings it into the back post. I don't think he expected Kenny Atthew to be in the middle where he was. So here comes that change. It's going to have to be a formation switch around here, because it's the right back coming on for a striker. Philip Panunzio, who, as I alluded to earlier on.
Just heard David Chick say Casper, right back. So
wow.
Versatility is a requirement when you have as many injuries as Green Gully do at the moment, and Casper Hallam's going from playing as the nominal number 9 to playing at right back.
So the 19-year-old off for the 22-year-old Scotsman, who, as you rightly pointed out, Steve, made his debut for the Gully last week in that tough loss to Port Melbourne. He'll be looking to try and come on and open his account with a goal and see if he can maybe turn their fortunes in the second half. Here he is, onto the ball now, trying to get past Giannakopoulos, who's a brick wall out there for Hajduk. Sesnik, well, I'm going to call a spade a spade. I think that was a little bit of a flop there from Barley Sesnik, but referee Jock Quartermain said that there was enough contact to draw a foul. Green Gully manager David Chick having a chat with Ben Howell, our fourth official, down below. The other players on the bench for Green Gully tonight, obviously the big one is Joe McGlynn, who's come on now. Judd McDougall, a couple of young guys, Judd McDougall and Solomon Tabele. Riley Byrne, who's already come on.
It's a really young bench. We saw young Ben Zilic get a chance to make his debut last week off the bench as well. Another teenager getting an opportunity.
Alion Keifel is the other on the bench of the outfield players. The reserve goalkeeper they've pulled up from their under-23s, Thomas Favaro.
By comparison, Brent.
Yeah.
Nick Tolios, a pretty handy bench. Yagub Mustafa, Jake Noble, Tim Atharinos, Scoring power, Diego Cuba. Pretty handy midfield player. Nathan Hancock, a good defensive option as well if required.
Yeah, a lot of those players would get starts for a lot of other top division teams.
Yeah, Hancock a mainstay at Port Melbourne last year, and the team that was the kit that looks like this one that we're seeing Dandenong City in tonight as their away strip.
Blockhead for McLean, who can turn. He sees red and blue shirts ahead of him, and Lino's the one to take the ball away. A couple of Jamie Latham's first touches tonight have been absolutely sublime.
Silky.
Yanakopoulos, the message from down below is settle down. Hasn't been a hell of a lot of goalmouth action to tell you about in this second half. We've gone 64 minutes, still a Dandenong City 3-goal lead, 3 goals that they scored in the first half. Here goes Vali Sesnik, taking on all comers, still going Vali Sesnik. Athieu, who must have been a fraction offside and denied by the flag again. Green Gully are probably asking, where was that flag in the first half?
A frustrating one for Athieu as well, because he was coming back from the offside position rather than stretching the defence, chasing a through ball. But
and of course our linesmen would say, well, we didn't raise the flag in the first half because they were onside every time. And they weren't particularly close. That's why it was so striking.
Yeah, there wasn't too many protests in the end from the Green Gully defensive line. Just a little bit out of step in that first half. They've been much tighter in the second half. I'd say the damage has already been done, unless they can pull something back here.
25.
It is the newly acquainted right back of Casper Hallam for Hodges. Oh, he's seen a run in behind. It's taken a deflection. Regent was also offside. Both teams being denied attacking forays.
Nugent getting on a bit of an adventure after starting the game as a central defender, making that run in beyond the number 9 there as well. Just, well, you could say he timed it like a central defender perhaps there, Brent. But we're going to see the changes here take place.
Diego Cuba's going to be injected onto the pitch for Nick Tolios' side. He's come from the bench in every match now. Former Malton City man. We're going to try and give them something in midfield, not that they really want for anything, with a 3-goal lead. Here's Lockhead turning and then being taken round by Will Bauer. Whoa, look out. Yes, indeed, at Green Gully. I think they thought that Lockhead might have gone down a little bit easy there potentially, and now our inexperienced referee, Jock Quartermain, has a big fracas to do. Gee, Regaig has just thrown Yanakopoulos to ground. We are going to see many colour-coded warnings right here.
Well, this is a tough one for Jock Quartermain. He's already got the yellow card out. He might have to have a chat to his assistants here. The subs are being lined up as well, so the fourth official's been tied up looking at the paperwork.
Get your pen ready, Steve.
Flashpoint started.
We're going to have to write down these bookings.
We have to write down like quickly.
Madman.
But it was just unnecessary, Brent, as well. It was not needed. Really cooler heads should have prevailed there. Wasn't the case, and now it's going to be a bit of a conference between Jock Quartermain and his assistant, John White, who had the best look at it to give a second opinion.
Well, right at the end of that, it was Regaig who threw down the Dandenong City player, and that was probably the worst thing that happened.
Well, it stood out as well because it was on the periphery of the big mall of players as well. It was
on the outskirts of the spot fire.
Fancy that it's going to be at least a yellow for Lockhead, which it is, and for Bauer. So,
wait, is that a yellow?
Will there be any further sanctions, though? That's the question. Or is Jock Quartermain going to keep this match 11 aside?
So Lockhead was the one that was fouled by Bauer. Bauer had some very stern words that you may have picked up in our effects, Mike. I hope you didn't. And then Hallam jumped right up and took exception, and from there it all kicked off. Dandenong City, meantime, are going to make a double change now down below us. Diego Cuba will be coming on, as will Timothy Atharinos, and Will Bauer's last course of action was to get involved in a fracas.
Probably a good time to get him off and put his feet up and prepare for next week's match against Altona Magic.
He's replaced by Diego Cuba, and George Lambatoridis is replaced by Timothy Atharinos.
Now, I think Jalil Regaig has got away with that WWE move there that he threw his opponent to the ground.
Yeah, looks like it was just those 2 yellows. So he's a lucky lad, Jalil Regay. He is a repeat offender when it comes to getting booked in this league. Well, we are going to have a free kick here. Lockhead. It's too tall and too long for everybody, and it all peters out to nothing.
The left foot of Lockhead, maybe a right-footed opportunity there, perhaps, to try and put it in that corridor of uncertainty between Pierce Clark and the defensive line. That back post area, that one over the defensive line, and it just kept going. Sailing out of play for a goal kick, and a missed opportunity for Gully, who need to make every chance count at the moment.
Well, I alluded to this in the first half, and I know the Green Gully fans may be listening back to this in the future, or tuning in tonight and probably not liking us sticking the boots into Green Gully and talking about what a historically bad start to the season it has been, as they're off on another adventure forward here. Hope's gotten himself into a nice position. Cuts it back towards Lockhead, who again is able to open up the angle. And it's out, certainly off Danny Kim, and Yanakopoulos may have even got a little bit as well. It's a Green Gully corner kick. Might just pause on that last thought for a moment as we have a look and see if Green Gully can try and pull one goal back here as we approach 70 minutes gone at Green Gully Reserve. They are the team that has done most of the attacking in this second half. In towards the back post, it's too tall for both Nugent and Hallam. And again, harmlessly out for a goal kick. So coming into the match day, it's Green Gully's worst start to a season since 2006. That was the last time that they were winless through the first 4 matches. They have the same record going into match day 5 that year, 2 draws and 2 losses. In the history of this proud football club, they have only started 1 season having not won a match in the first 5, and that was their first season in the National Soccer League in 1984. Here come Dandenong City again, looking to make it for Sesnick, for Latham. Can he score a double? The step over, the strike! And it's just going past that far post. Lawrence Caruso didn't need to get a glove on it. Throws his head back in. Frustration, Jamie Latham. He has absolutely terrorised his former side tonight, and on another night he may have had a hat-trick. Yeah.
Amazing. He's really pulled out all stops against his old team, and I don't know if there's an added layer of motivation there for him, perhaps in any way, but he's put in a sterling performance tonight. He's been everywhere.
No doubt he's making it very, very difficult for Nick Tolios to put him back to the bench, that's for sure. Kim. Here's Lino. Looking for the run in behind of Latham. His first touch was a bit heavier than he might have liked, and in fact has taken him all the way off the pitch.
His feet were moving too fast there, Brent. Just couldn't keep it inside the field of play. But again, it's a case of speak of the devil. And the next thing is, here he is again putting the pressure on. Can Gully play through the press here? If they can get out the other side, their ball handling is going to let them down again here as Wynn has to go back and pick up that ball. And it gives too much time for Dandenong City to get men behind the ball and set up a really good defensive shape here.
It's been quiet in the second half, Declan Wynn. What have you made of his appearance back from injury this evening, Steve?
I just wonder how his, his appearance maybe earlier in the game. So just pause on that thought for a moment.
And here he is. I mentioned Declan Wynn and now Hodges.
Yeah, it was a case of that. He was sort of out of the play in those defensive blunders that they made in the first half. A lot of those attacks were more down the Gully right-hand side. He was a bit of an ominous observer as those balls are played through the defensive line. That inside left channel, Brent. Declan Wynn not really been able to stamp himself on this one. He moved forward a couple of times in that first half, and he's probably had less to do in the second half, with Gully having a little bit more territorial advantage than they did earlier in the game.
He signed for Port Vale in England late last season as an injury replacement, but he didn't end up playing for Port Vale. He played a lot of football in America prior to that. Oh, it's a poor attempted clearance there from Inaba. Hallam. Oh, and then Lockhead can't get it back for Hodges.
Look at that big rip on the shirt of Scott Lockhead as well. You'll see it when the ball comes back into his possession. But look, here's Latham again.
Yeah, Cuba. Got caught and was thinking about playing the advantage, but thought that the foul was too egregious, so he comes in and gives a yellow card to, I think that went to Josh Hope.
I think it did, but Jamie Latham would have loved the advantage there, but as you can see that Scott Lockhead jersey, he needs a replacement top. It's ripped in half almost. You can see the GPS tracker garment underneath.
Just as we close the book on Declan Wynn, I mean, one of a handful of really good signings for Green Gully in the off-season, which makes this bad start to this campaign all the more perplexing. Played so much football in America, Charleston Battery, Detroit City, the OKC Energy, the Colorado Rapids. Why don't we have names like that?
You get a one-sided game, you can always just amuse yourself by reading out a list of former clubs of players who've played in America, and perhaps they dream of, you know, coming to Australia and hitting one of those cleat rockets, as they call it over there. But here comes the set piece.
Towards the back post. That's helped on there by Kim, and then turned in by, it might have been the man who was fouled earlier. Cuba. Oh, it's a foul anyway. It's not going to count. So both teams have had goals waved off in this second half. It might have been
Giannakopoulos with the orange boots, who's been cleaned up there.
Looks like he's okay, which is the main thing, but the foul on the goalkeeper takes precedence. So no fourth goal for Dandy City, who are still sitting pretty on that 3-goal lead that they built for themselves in the first half. 6-minute strike for Will Bauer, 23rd minute strike for Kenny Athew, and a 43rd minute strike for Jamie Latham. Again, they asked the question for handball, Green Gully.
Easy.
Uncompromisingly right down below us. You've got a great view of that.
Who wants it?
That was their challenge from Paul Hodges.
Do we know kicking? I'm talking to him.
And that is very borderline yellow card.
Atherinos was made to know all about that challenge. Great view there by the Nick behind the camera, giving you the best look at the action if you can't be here in Keilor Downs tonight.
And props as well to Atherinos. I mean, there's a lot of players that would have wriggled around and carried on after a challenge like that.
Yeah, credit to him.
He didn't like it, but he just got back up and had whispered a couple of sweet nothings into the ear of Paul Hodges. And Paul Hodges probably said something back, and Tim said, "I can't understand your accent, mate, shut up." Here's the energy.
Hodges has got a ripped jersey as well. They need to get McGlynn on the ball here, Gully. He's been a little bit anonymous since he got out there. It's probably a credit to the defensive work that we've seen from Dandenong City throughout this match.
We've seen Josh Hope drop into a deeper midfield position with the injection of the strike. He probably only had, you're right, Steve, maybe 3 or 4 touches on the ball. Here's Hallam. Oh, a little move to try and get past Atherinos, and he does. And then he can't quite get past Jackson Leno, and then it's banged away by Inaba. It's going to end up on the roof of the commentary gantry here.
Just a little bit too much from Hallam there. He did the good groundwork. Just need to get that ball into the box earlier. Looks like we're going to see the change here from Nick Tolios. It's going to be Jake Noble, the 19-year-old, getting a chance.
Yeah, so this is going to be his first appearance of the season. He did make 3 of them last year for Dandenong City, including starting in the Matchday 26 clash with Heidelberg United. And Yakub Mustafa is also going to see some time.
Certainly a handy reinforcement who started on the right flank last week. And we have got a goal around the grounds at last. And it's come from not Reservoir, but Broadmeadows, where Hume City have opened the scoring. They lead by a 1-0 against Altona Magic. Of course, Hume City, the tormentors of Dandenong City in that last 20 minutes of that match at Frank Holohan last Friday night. Look at that, all smiles from Giannakopoulos there as he collects his bib, as well as Sesnik leaving the play. And, well, what a good start to your long weekend.
Yeah,
for those boys.
Yeah, Seznik in particular, I think, is absolutely terrific on the flank this evening for Dandenong City, particularly when the game was up for grabs, which it's probably just petering away now, isn't it? Mustafa's first act is to go right up the left wing and then win a foul. Great play by the winger there for Dandenong City, who was with the Wollongong Wolves last week. Made his first start for Hajduk last week on his 26th birthday. And he wins the foul and then goes to take his place on the edge of the 18-yard box.
Good impact, straight on off the bench and straight into the plate. That's exactly what Nick Kolios wants to see.
Well, he was in New South Wales last year, but of course he is a known commodity here in Victoria.
He's done some good work with some clubs, including the Bentley Greens in the past.
Cuba's ball was a little bit not quite as deep as they might have liked. Hacked forward by Anaba. Here's Denny Kim. He's sort of gone under the radar tonight. Cuba, Atherinos, I should say. Athieu is there. Can he poke it past the goalkeeper? He can. It bounces in. And while Green Gully are very unhappy off the ball here, Kenny Athieu has himself a brace. And the red and blue do have goal number 4. And they sew it up in a nice little package with a beautiful red and blue ribbon on top. Dandenong City will open the account tonight with a big win away from home in the Gully.
Just ricocheted awkwardly off the top, but Tim Atherinos, credit to him, playing the ball forward. It may have been a deflector. We may give him the assist. We may not. We'll have to watch the replay again, but Kenny Athieu knew what to do. He's second of the night, and he's really made up for that own goal that he scored from the corner kick against Hume City last weekend.
So he has a brace tonight, Kenny Athieu. It's his 3rd goal of the season. He did score 1 of Dandenong City's 3 in that 3-all draw with St Albans. That goal came from the penalty spot. Here is Joe McGlynn rolling down the left flank, trying to get it into the 18-yard box, but Gully weren't able to get too many numbers into the penalty area, and so McGlynn instead is happy enough to earn his side a corner kick.
Too late, Paul.
It's like a defensive change now, but of course, Dandenong City don't want to make the sub when they're about to defend the corner, do they? Or are they going to commit the cardinal offence of making a sub when you are defending the corner kick? We will wait and see. Nathan Hancock is the man to enter the fray.
Just trying to catch who it was that Danny Kim, I think, who's left the field behind the goals to which Green Gully are now attacking. I think I can see the number 17 on the shorts there. Into the near post, Athieu away. Chance to recycle here for the Gully. Into the back post, Regaig is there. So too Hallam, right across the goal mouth. And Pierce Clark ended up tangled underneath the Green Gully player. It's back out for another corner kick.
Yeah, good play, Casper Hallam. He's stuck it out tonight. He's to deal with a lot of difficult opponents, and his header back across the face there, doing the team thing.
So repeat corner kicks for the Gully. This one is taken short or medium-ish. Declan Wynn deflected off the shoulder of Kenny Athieu. And Cavaliers will have a 3rd successive corner kick. If nothing else, they're getting some good practice.
Yeah, we're putting Pierce Clark under a little bit of pressure here. Iannucci, good quality deliverer of the ball, the kid from Cobram.
Here it comes. Latham, defensive header, goes right across the goal mouth, and then Casper Hallam couldn't, at the back post, contort his body to get it back on target. Yeah, just with that corner previous to that one, playing that short ball to the top of the 18-yard box, surely you want to just get the ball into the dangerous area. You're already 4 goals down. Just try and put them under pressure, if nothing else. It's
a staggering stats popped up there. 8 corner kicks to Green Gully, only 2 for Dandenong City. We saw at half-time they were really efficient in front of goal. 5 shots in the first half for a 3-goal return. All of their shots on target. A straight past Caruso, who's had a difficult night and a lot of picking the ball out of his own net. No Liam Driscoll available after tearing his quad, taking the long goal kick last week. One of a number of players that Gully are missing, and of course Amir Abdullah is a big miss. Their star man, the gold medalist NPL Victoria last season.
Well, I mean, that, I mean, Gully, in terms of the table, were the third worst team last season, but it speaks to the allure still and the power that they have to be able to recruit a player like that. I mean, if Abdullah had been recruited to a team like South Melbourne or Oakley or someone like that, you wouldn't have blinked an eye, but he's gone to Green Gully, which is an incredible show of strength in terms of recruitment. Here's Lockhead, another one of those big recruits, and McGlynn, hacked away by Dandy City, picked up in midfield by Latham. Kenny Atthew, he is on a hat-trick, but he's not in possession of the ball.
We've been praising him up. His best first touch that we've seen from him this evening, we'll say.
Well, we haven't had a hat-trick yet this season in the NPL Victoria. Kenny's got about 6 minutes to try and make that the headline this evening.
Well, it would be a statement piece as Dandenong City have gone from having a negative goal difference. They came in with a -2 goal difference tonight. 10th place with just the 3 points, 3 draws and a loss, and they're going to pick up the 3 points here, but they've also turned that negative difference into a +2, which is handy because it's very tight in the middle of the table, Brent, this time of year, as you would imagine.
Yeah, they come into match day 5, 10th on the table, Dandy City. Here's McGlynn on the back shoulder of Inaba. He's taken to the byline. Doubling back for Hope. Swings it onto his left. He's never going to shoot from his left. Thinks back from Iannucci, McGlynn, and then it's tapped in right across the goal mouth, kept out, and then on the follow-up it was Casper Hallam, who again can't get his shot on target. The goal line clearance in amongst all of that for Dandenong City, and still Green Gully cannot find a goal from open play. That's probably as close as they've come, just about.
You couldn't really come much closer. It was almost trying to walk the ball into the goal. Here's Clark, stood tall, and sure repelled the attack, and a chance here for
the dangerous Atherinos. He's opened up the space for himself, and it whizzes past the near uprights, and that would have been absolute salt in the wounds with Green Gully coming so close up their end, and then seconds later the opposition going up and scoring a 5th.
The story of Green Gully's night, had it happened, it would have summed it up very well.
And you start thinking about not just the wins and losses and how the records look on the table, but also the fact that, we've mentioned Liam Driscoll, their goalkeeper, who, pound for pound, is probably one of Gully's best players. He's a terrific goalkeeper, and they're going to be without him for some time. I mean, Lawrence Caruso is going to try his best, but he's a very inexperienced player, let alone a player in this league. And, it's so invaluable being able to have someone between the posts barking out the instructions. It's a back 4 that's got a lot of new faces and, players even moving positions. They just have not had an opportunity to be able to settle because of those injuries this year, the Gully. In a bit of a nightmare start. Mustafa, wide right for Dandy City. Noble for Latham, and now Diego Cuba. Does he fancy his chances from range? No, he's trying to play in Matthew, but too hot.
Yeah, and as you mentioned there, Brennan, it really speaks to what we saw in the first half with their defensive line being just a little bit all over the place. That leadership, looked like they were lacking leadership last week against Port Melbourne, but losing that figure in goal who can sort out the defence, that goalkeeping role where you've got everything all in front of you to help direct the play. Just having been here a couple of years, got that experience and confidence from being over at Reading in their system as well in the UK. No nonsense clearance there from Inaba, and it's been a quiet achiever tonight in the centre of defence for Dandenong City too, but it's going to be Gully making the change here. It's the end of proceedings for Josh Hope, who's been one of the brighter lights tonight. And a chance for Alian Kifle, who came off the bench last week, and the 20-year-old gets to make another appearance off the bench again tonight.
He did make 10 appearances last season, a couple of starts. The Dandenong City are thrusting forward after the Gully put all of their numbers up the other end. The staff is running at Regaig. It was an early release that was well stymied by Riley Byrne. He did score a senior goal last season, Kifle. That was in Green Gully's 4-0 cup win over Ballarat City.
Team very close to your heart, Brent, Ballarat City.
Not losing like that. The distance was formerly, of course, the Ballarat Red Devils before the City Group took over that particular club. They've got great facilities, don't they? Moorshead Park in Ballarat, A-League ground.
A little brigade coming from out that way as well.
And some pretty good commentators as well.
So they say. The rivalry between Bendigo and Ballarat will certainly be played out in the broadcast position here, maybe, Brent, after the game.
Look out. Want to have a chat about what's coming up for these teams as the Gully are back in possession. Green Gully are back at home against the Melbourne Knights next Friday night. The Knights season has been a bit of an indifferent one. And then they've got 3 consecutive away games against Altona, Melbourne Victory, and then to the Village to play Heidelberg United. Dandenong City are away to Altona next week. Did you want to say something there, sir?
Well, interestingly, that match against Melbourne Victory in round 8, I'm told, is taking place. We're talking about regional Victoria. It's taking place at John McEwen Reserve in Shepparton, if I'm correct there.
Right.
So
I can just imagine all the commentators putting their hands up to call that one as they've been sprung loose again here. Jamie Latham at the double against his former side. Yes, please. And you've got to say it, a 5-star performance from Dandenong City away from home. And they haven't just opened the account tonight. They have obliterated the account tonight. It's their biggest league win for a long, long time, Dandenong City. And it's going to be a very enjoyable trip back to Frank Holohan tonight. And Jamie Latham has returned to Green Gully Reserve to haunt his former side with a double. And on another night, it might have been 3 or 4. Green Gully 0, Dandenong City 5.
Yeah, again, good pressure. Atherinos, he's been really impressive coming off the bench, winning the ball back in the centre of the park. King Kenny slotting the through pass. Another assist for him and another goal for Latham, who atones for that one-on-one that he missed earlier in the match. We've already reached stoppage time in this one. 3 minutes will be added on. The misery will be only brief, at least from a Green Gully point of view. It's been Howe holding the board aloft to indicate, or maybe there's a little bit of compassion and sympathy there for the Cavaliers, Brent, with just the 3 minutes of stoppage time to let them get inside and quell the bleeding.
This is going to be Green Gully's equal worst start to a season ever. Only once before have they gone winless through the first 5 games. As I mentioned earlier, that was in their first season in the National Soccer League in 1984. That season they drew with Sunshine George Cross. They lost to South Melbourne, lost to West Adelaide, lost to Brunswick UVA, and lost to Newcastle United. It might be a late opportunity here, though. Cut it back, and then turning it off the frame of the goal again. Can you believe that was the youngster Kifley? And they have to be thinking right now, Green Gully, that they are a hexed football club. Once again, denied by the frame of the goal. It's the second time they've hit the woodwork tonight.
I'm surprised Kifley's not getting more of an opportunity. I liked what I saw of him last season when they had a group of players available to them, a little bit more experience and quality than they do at this point in time. Making an impact there in the few moments he's had to his best foot forward and off the upright there. They couldn't have come any closer. And, well, it would have been little more than they deserved for their effort out there in toiling away on what's been a horrible night for the Cavaliers. That's as bad a night as I can remember coming out here for a Cavaliers game, and I've been to plenty.
It's very different to the last time I was out here calling the Green Gully. They beat the Eastern Lions 7-0 late in 2022. How the tide has turned for the Gully. It'll be back to the drawing board for David Chick. Where to next?
Well, you mentioned the upcoming run. Dandenong City, a good chance again to maybe get another result at Paisley Park against the Magic next Saturday evening. And then a couple of really good fixtures where we'll get a chance to see where they're at. Heidelberg United down at Dandenong City on Friday week. Good test. Heidelberg United have impressed me so far this season. Really impressed with what I saw from them last week. And then they'll play South Melbourne on Monday Night Football in round 8. So put that one in your diary because that one was a classic match when they met at Lakeside last year.
Kifley hit the woodwork twice and a goal line clearance as well in this match. Here's a snatch shot from Nugent, who fires it over the bar, and that is the final act of what has been a dirty night for Green Gully at home, and their wait for their first victory of the new season will continue. The dog days are over for Dandenong City. They're on the winners list for the first time this season, and for the Cavaliers, perhaps the dog days are really only just beginning. 3 goals in the first half for Hajduk this evening. A 6-minute strike from Will Bauer, and then Kenny Athew on 23 minutes doubled their money. Just before half-time, Jamie Latham scored against his former side on 43 minutes, and then 2 late goals for Kenny Athew and Jamie Latham getting a brace against his former team. And in the end, if your blood runs green and white, that is not a very good scoreline that you want to be looking at this evening as you're driving home.
Yeah, there were some better signs for Gully after halftime. Looked like they had quelled the bleeding a little bit, but then those 2 goals to wrap things up later on in the game, in the 80th minute for Athew and Latham in the 90th minute. Just too easy, too soft goals that they don't want to be conceding, and, well, it really sees them end the match in a real sour note. Really, a 5-0 defeat in a match hot on the heels after the loss to Port Melbourne last week. They've got to do a lot of work to get things right. They've got to shore up the defence, first of all, and then next week against the Melbourne Knights, who knows, anything's possible. They might be able to turn it around and get a run going. And if there's ever a week to do it, it's next week against the Melbourne Knights, a team who's struggled with injuries and lack of form so far. Altona Magic the following week. Well, that one, difficult proposition to see which way it will go. But, yeah, the Cavaliers, plenty of work to do, and they need to get some of their star players back in the team.
Yep.
Amir Abdullah being back in the team will just give them a world of confidence, a boost. And some players just need to find some form and match minutes. Joe McGlynn coming off the bench tonight. He didn't really get involved in the game, as we saw last week as well in his club debut. Didn't really have a huge involvement. So a difficult night for the Cavaliers, and they're going to need to find some leaders out there to try and drive them in the right direction in the coming weeks, Brent.
And just a quick word on Dandenong City, who get their first win tonight, and for the time being jump from 10th spot on the ladder up into 8th, only a point out of the top 6 with the rest of the round to come.
Yeah, really impressed the way they went about it from the first whistle. They knew what they needed to do. They're organised. Without the ball, one of the most impressive sides I've seen this season. Their pressing and counter-pressing is excellent. And then that's how we saw them score the goals, winning the ball back in the middle of the park. It happened time and time again tonight. Both of those goals in the second half was the case. A couple of the goals in the first half as well was also the case. Winning the ball back. They've got that front 3, those wide players. In this case tonight it was Sesnick and Bauer out wide, flanking Kenny Athew. Jamie Latham making those runs beyond Kenny Athew as well, who's able to just receive the ball in the centre of the park and take those draw a defender out of the defensive line. We see him, it's so easy with his back to goal, drawing a central defender, big hole behind him, play it through for one of those wide men, and Bob's your uncle. So, look, Dandenong City really impressed. Nick Tolios clearly doing a great job. Good talent to come off the bench as well tonight. So, really good performance for Atherinos. He's going to have selection headaches last week. Atherinos coming on, directly involved in 2 goals. Yagub Mustafa, well, he almost commands a starting 11 spot as well. He's going to have to keep everyone happy.
So first win of the season for Dandenong City and a clean sheet as well. It's a happy Hajduk who go back out to the eastern suburbs this evening and testing troubling times for David Chick and his Cavaliers. For me, Brent Sternberg, Steve Curtin and our statsman and cameraman as well, thanks for joining us this evening, everybody. With a final score from Green Gully Reserve, a very lopsided one. Green Gully 0, Dandenong City 5.